Morning guys, I'm out here at Gema this morning. Beautiful, nice, cool morning. As you can see, we've got lots of clouds just on the approach, which we had to circle 5 or 6 times before we were able to find a way in, and ended up just kind of coming off to the side. We're here now, we're unloading some cargo here that's actually going to be hiked over this hill over to a place called Pinji where they're actually making another airstrip. I've mentioned it last time I was down in Samogu, so maybe if the weather's all right, maybe I'll fly over there so you guys can see. We're getting some wheelbarrows and some other tools and stuff for them to be able to work on that. But we're going to unload now and see if there's any sick people here that need to go back up to Goroka.
Yes.
Now name you?
Tom.
Tom, okay.
Tom.
Name me Ryan.
Ryan, Tom. Ryan, okay, good luck.
All right, Tom and I are gonna walk up to see the house sick up here, and then maybe we'll show you down the school a little bit, if we have a second.
Gema Community Health Post since 2016 opened Bush Material Building run by Tom Kawawina since 2012 up until now.
So you here, huh?
Yes.
All right. Now you got key? You mean you have to go inside and just look, that's all?
Yes, yes. You're welcome. Listen, sorry you can walk up. You long leg man. Okay. Let's plan how sick Gema. The whole lot of 6,000 plus population.
6,000 area?
Yes.
Alright.
This plus how 6 or 7. Medicine, medical supplies pull up inside.
Yes, nice.
Yes. Thank you.
Now, school blow you what in grades?
Elementary 2, we go grade 3.
2 now 3 that's all?
Yes, 2 now 3 that's all.
Alright, so he was saying this is grade 1, 2, 3, and if they want to get more schooling, they got to go over to Wananara or on the other side of this mountain over to Pinji area. There's more schooling and stuff, but it basically finished here and then actually moved to there. So all Picanindi by just stop yet lohap or gata man mama no papa stop lo here now yet by stop lo school or
Narapla all friends and relatives long up all by look out mall.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Wananara.
All right, thank you.
One kind of wonder careful long up and Pinjina back Tabu.
Okay. Looks like I have one passenger coming out of here. She's bringing along some peanuts to probably sell into Goroka and stuff. And I'm heading on over to Minyamia next. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a cloudy one. So a lot of times they'll take peanuts or a bag of coffee or something that they can sell into town to make a little bit of money to, well, just pay for whatever they're gonna do being around town. It's usually safer for them to like take a bag of peanuts and sell it than just to be carrying cash a lot of times. And they sometimes, even just this week, I had a man send money into Goroka for us just to basically hold it for him, and then he'll pick it back up on Wednesday when he actually gets out, so that he doesn't have to carry on all the public motor vehicles, you know, a bunch of money. And we'll get the peanuts, huh? Okay, buy me one. All right, 36 kgs of peanuts. So I'm just going to write a receipt real quick for her. Typically what we do is they pay for their ticket and then they're allowed 16 kgs to go with them for cargo. just because it's like, we don't fly out here very often, it's expensive, I don't have that much money. I'm just taking just the payment for just her, and I'm just taking all the peanuts and things for free, because technically I should pay or charge her for that, but I'm not going to, because it's hard enough for her to come up with the money.
And low start. Over 14 as always. Let's introduce our fuel. Oil pressure come in, fuel flow come up, NG's passing on 35. Now ITT peaks out at 73. Over lights on. Once the prop comes in, we'll line up just so that I'm not at a side slope right here. All my fuel is just going to want to transfer over. Moresby 6622 to November Tango Zulu taxi.
November Tango Zulu, Moresby, go ahead.
November Tango Zulu taxi. Gema, Minyamya, Tupiobi.
November Tango Zulu, no report, go ahead.
November Tango Zulu. Brake on for a second. Fuel caps and selectors are good. We'll turn our terrain awareness system off. Car controls. Our switches and instruments, we're going up not above 11,000. I don't know how far we're actually going to have to go. Let me get my radar on standby. Laps are set, indicated and verified at 20. We'll go ahead and set up my trim. Full right rudder trim in this model. And just a little bit above the T in the elevator trim. It was a lot of work getting in here, let me tell you. Like, I had to circle around and around and around just to be able to land. In fact, let me just track my flight here on over to Gema or over to Minyamya for you. So if you're a flight simmer, you can follow along, actually fly the same route. I post all these routes on my Patreon page. All right, there we are. We're supposed to be going in a straight line, but the way the clouds are looking, I might have to go out maybe about 15, 20 miles out of my way just to get over there today. Ignition inlet and lights are good. Our SAR is done. We're going to be committed really at brakes release on this one. We're not too heavy, but once we get going, we'll be committed after takeoff. If we have any problems, if we have to just go off the runway, then we'll cut off, pull off, and shut off emergencies, masters, and crack my door and brace. After takeoff, we'll pitch for 85 knots, whatever lowest terrain we can. Consider EPL, consider feather, otherwise cut off, pull off, and shut off, emergencies, masters, and crack my door, and then 80 full flaps. Obviously before I do full off on masters. 5,220, so it's the same as Goroka. 1390, ignition condition, flaps 20, fuel and harnesses. I'll lock my elbow in just because it's a very bumpy takeoff. My brake off, make sure it's off. 1390. Rotate 56. There we go. All right, torque set. Airspeed's alive. I just follow down the terrain. Sure we're still under 740 for ITT. I want to go show you guys this airstrip right behind me on the other side of this mountain where all those tools are being hiked to on a 3 to 4 hour hike. Let me do a 180 here, make sure that I'm going to the left where I have the most terrain available, or the least amount of terrain I should say. Now I'm just climbing at my 73 knots because that's my best angle. I'm just trying to get over top of this mountain really close to me. And also it gives me a chance to take a look at the Mariwaka Gap, which is the most direct route to where we're going today. I don't think it's going to work that way. I think we're going to have to go the long way. All right, now that we're up to an altitude that's able to get over top of it, wow, I got 17 knots. That's crazy of wind. It's going to maintain my 80-20 for now. Looking at the Mariwaka, straight up through there, it looks like just a bunch of clouds. So rather than trying to squeeze through there, because I have to get through another gap on the other side of that to get down to Minyamia. That's just not going to work. Pretty much directly over top of the runway. It's right there, 52 minutes. Let's see how long of a flight it is for that 3-hour hike over here. Just going 85 knots. There it is, right there, coming into view. Yeah, we're 1 minute into our flight over here. Give us another 30 seconds or so to get on top of it. 1.5 minutes for a 3-hour hike. I'm gonna fly around and then come back right over top of it so you guys can take a look at it a little bit easier. This is an airstrip that they've been working on for a really long time. As you can see, it's a lot of work. They're cutting it out literally out of the side of the hill. Working on it for years. It looks like every time they were saying that they, get a big rain, it just washes more of their dirt down. All right, let's get our flaps up, get out of here. We're heading out this way because, well, the Mariwaka Gap right behind me is just not going to work today. It's pretty bumpy on this side of these mountains just because the wind's coming directly over. We're about ready to head directly over top of Samogu at this time. I was just out here last week or so, I think. Well, the Narambi Gap, I probably could have got through, but it would have been a really tight fit. I couldn't really see a lot on the other side, so we're just going to go a tiny bit further. I knew that I was going to have to probably do a bunch of extra maneuvering around here, so I brought on an extra 20 minutes on top of my IFR reserve fuel, just for that sake of having to go way out and around today. Hopefully this lady doesn't get sick back there. There we go. And quite a bit more. As you can see, I'm quite a ways going out of my way, but that's kind of what I expected, as you can see right here. Throw my autopilot on, do just a slow climb for the time being. I need to make sure I have enough altitude to get over into the valley into Minyamia. It looks like probably 9,000 will probably get me in there. I got an 8,700 ridge that I'm gonna have to pass over top of. Other than that, I really don't want to get up high, because then if I get on top of it, and then if it's an overcast once I get there, then I'm going to have struggles getting back down. So I really would rather kind of go around the clouds, just so that I know that I can get back down over top of the ridges. Well, let's go ahead and bring our torque on back to 1250 for our cruise over there, it looks like. I think 9,000 is about as good as I'm going to get for this little portion. I guess we'll just keep trekking out here a lot further out than I was hoping to, but whatever. So you get with weather and PNG, you just don't ever know. You guys saw me using this on Takeoff. This is a checklist box that does takeoff and landing items. So I have them for turbine, I have them for like 172, 152 kind of airplanes, as well as just a regular piston complex plane. Maybe if you're flying something with, retractable gear or an adjustable prop or cow flaps, things like that. I also have one for that as well. So if you're interested, check out the site below. It really does increase safety because it keeps your eyes up and out rather than down looking at a paper checklist where there's so much higher chance that you could be missing critical items for takeoff or landing. I also have a backlit version, and then this one here is not a backlit one, but I do have a backlit one that's just matches the yellow color of all the backlights on all your other airplanes. Well, I'm just about to the end of this mountain right here. It should open up right after that. We'll take a left-hand turn, probably fly directly over Andacombe area, and then hop into the mountains over there. I'm really hoping that the mountains are going to be clear over there. Okay, there we go. There's a hole. Oh yeah, way clear over there. Awesome. Hey, if you're looking for a pair of sunglasses that is a high quality, that's not going to scratch up or wear out really quick, these things are awesome. I've been using them for over a year now. Scratch resistant glass lenses. These are non-polarized. They've got gold and silver And then I have a polarized version that's more of the classic aviator as well on my website. If you're interested in getting them, I do worldwide shipping with all my stuff, but even with the Checkmate box as well. I know what I was thinking. We've got quite a bit of clouds just sitting on all of the ridges all over Anaconda and things like that where I was kind of initially thinking. So let me just throw my autopilot on heading mode. It looks like, yeah, really the direct route that I'm heading now, it looks like this is going to be all the way out to about here now. Head on down there and then up the river. Now we are just droning along. Let's go ahead and bring up the Missionary strip chart. Make sure that I'm not going to be going into these cloud layer here because it looks like I'm just scraping it. Missionary elevation 3,700 feet, so we'll do pattern at 4,700. We'll land on runway 33. We'll fly in overhead around the corner into a left downwind. This one is the final because we have a hill halfway down final. You can see we're going to have to probably do around a 750 on our vertical speed, so a little bit steeper coming in on this one, even though it is really, 1,100 meters long. So although it looks like this layer right above me, we'll probably head back at 12 on the way back to Goroka. It looks like we can probably get above this layer pretty quick and easy for our trip back. So, Missionary is right up there. There is a little lower of a valley if you can get over these mountains, but looking that way, I'm not seeing any definite ridges. So I'm just going to continue on the route that I'm taking in hopes that I can find a ridge that I can hop over into that bigger valley. I don't know, maybe right around in here. See, it looks pretty thin right there. That's quite a ways out of my way, but I've got the fuel. So there's Anaconda. Yeah, I'm seeing one tiny ridge up there. And that's about where I was thinking I'd find one. So let's just start heading down that way. Looks like 8,700 feet. There's probably, can't really go much lower than this, really, to get over top of those. Let's start turning that way. We know we need to have to go that way. Maybe if I turn that way, I'll see something. And once I see something, then I'll just start immediately slowing down. I'm definitely seeing a ridge, seeing a little bit past it. That's good. Let's start heading in that way. It looks like there's a cloud layer, not layer, but some broken clouds here. It opens up for a section and then more clouds over there, but it looks like there might be a gap up there that I can fit through. My tail is turned off. Let's just make sure I've got through as much as I can, just so once I get there it's less to do. 5,500 landing, well, probably a little bit less, 54-ish, so 63 knots at the slowest. If I have to slow down to kind of my cloud maneuvering speed, I'm going to push the prop forward 20 degrees of flaps and slow down to 85 knots. But for the time being, looks like this should actually work. It's crazy, the longer you fly here, at first when you fly here, all the clouds, it's impassable. Everywhere you look, there is no options. The longer you fly here, you're just like, I'm just going to continue on, and eventually I'll find something, and you always seem to find something every single time. Like as far as I can see, we could go around that hill, maybe find something, but this one right here, let me make sure that this is exactly where I'm wanting to point. I've got another 10 miles ahead of me, maybe 8 miles, so that's about, yeah, right there. So this is the ridge, so if I can get over that, then I'm into the valley I want to be in. I continue slowing down and heading down. So might as well OBS our runway 33 because it's not doing us any good pointing us where it is. And we wanted 4,700 for my pattern altitude. That's all set up and our VREF is set up. Head speed on back up. So we've got plenty of space to get through here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come off to the left of it, so I'm coming at my gap at a 45 degree angle so that I'm turning out towards the big open valley. The winds are kind of coming from behind me, so I'll be turning into the wind. As I get closer, it just looks a little bit smaller and smaller, but we're gonna just go ahead and slow on down. The more time and space you give yourself in situations like this, the better. Don't want to be in a rush, that's for sure. 10 degrees of flaps. I'm bringing my torque on back down, probably 450. Below 120, we'll go 20 degrees of flaps. We'll throw our landing light on and our bypass just because we're getting a little low to the trees. Well, bypass, not the light. It's verifying, yep, that's the valley I want to go into. I can see all the way across to the other side. Lots and lots of room to maneuver around in there. Make sure that I'm at a level where I can just kind of turn and bank, descend out, or even climb, but right now I'd just probably be banking and turning and descending out. The valley's 100% wide open in there. Winds are behind me, 12 knots. We're continuing.
500. 500.
Right, add my power back in. Get my flaps back out a little bit. And we'll also bring my prop on back to 2,000 RPM. We're gonna get a bunch of bumps on this side. Well, I hope my passenger doesn't get sick with all this turning and going everywhere we need to today. All stations Minyamia 120.7. November Tango Zulu 10 miles to the west-southwest, 6,500 on descent. Circuit time at Minyamia 20. Moresby 6622 November Tango Zulu.
November Tango Zulu, Moresby, go ahead.
November Tango Zulu, revised estimate Minyamia 20.
November Tango Zulu.
Runway is 33, 4700. We'll enter in. We're gonna have a 12 knot tailwind, so I'm just gonna go ahead and bump my speed up to 70 knots. Basically, you know, now it's 14. So basically what I did there is I'm just taking like the tailwind component and adding a little bit of it. I cut it in half, 7 knots, add to it. It's such a huge long runway, so I'm all right with landing with a big amount of tailwind, even quartering tailwind. All stations Minyamia 120.7 November Tango Zulu joining the circuit Minyamia. Moresby 6622 November Tango Zulu in the circuit Minyamia. Report after landing.
November Tango Zulu.
Looking up ahead of that smoke up there, that's an indication that, yeah, we still do have, now I've got 18 knots. It's kind of like a Venturi right here as all the mountains get close. Probably a bumpy approach, quartering tailwind. We're still descending down to 4,700, we're at 5,000 now. Push our prop forward, slow us down, below 138 knots. Get our flaps going. Let's bring our torque to 450-ish for starters. You guys want to learn how to fly the Kodiak for Microsoft Flight Sim X-Plane? I've got a course that actually teaches you all the same stuff that I do every single day with this plane. Takeoff, landings, cruise, G1000, all kinds of stuff. So check out the link below. I think you'll really enjoy it. There's 4,700. We're slowing down to 90 knots for our downwind. It's an inlet, power up, 20 degrees of flaps, pitch for 12 degrees, and then straight on out for our go around. Top end harness is done. We'll cancel SAR on the ground. There's our 90 knots just about. And we got 24 knots of quartering wind now. Now just entering into downwind. Once we get a beam where we're going to touch down, we will throw our
500.
flaps. Actually, I'm going to go 30 or 20 degrees flaps now. Then 42 turning final. And continue crabbing just so not get blown further in closer. We got a couple of key positions here. I'm heading over to those trees first. The grouping of trees. Knots. Should die down once I get a little bit lower. Go for 80 knots here. A little bit of power as we go now to a tailwind.
500.
Full flaps checklist is complete. 15 knots. There's 80 turning final. 14 knots tailwind. Knots quartering tailwind. Knots crosswind. There's 70. Too fast. 15 knots crosswind. There we go. Exciting. It's going to be exciting takeoff out of here. Especially because I know that my passenger hates flying. Well, thank you guys for joining along on that long flight. Like I said, if you want to fly that exact same route out of here, or from Gema over here, I know that Gema is now available. You can download it for Microsoft Flight Sim. And I know that this place here, Minyami, is on X-Plane for sure. So check out my Patreon if you're interested in flying. I've got 70 or more of these flights with all the flight details and all kinds of really cool, fun stuff. Thanks guys for joining along. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with whoever you like. Be sure to subscribe if you like this kind of content and you want to see more. And see you guys next time.